It's showtime. What is up, YouTube? This is Brandon Talks Movies, or Brandon at the Movies here, bringing you guys a new movie review. Today I'm reviewing Beetlejuice, the sequel to the classic Tim Burton film from 1988, which is now 36 years. Was 36 years in the making, and it is finally here. I got to see it here on a Wednesday, early release on Wednesday. Its official release is the 6th, and then the Thursday screenings are tomorrow. But got to see it a day or so early. I've been hyped for this movie for a while. Now, I grew up with the animated series actually before the movie. And then a few years later, I think it finally took me to watch the movie because it was hard to find on. I don't think the Blu-ray came out yet at the time when I saw the animated series. And I mean, actually, it took. I don't even think it didn't have the DVD. It was something at the time. It was like I wasn't collecting as much until like 2012. So that's when I started really getting into collecting and stuff like that, movie wise. But I'm pretty sure I saw it before that. But can't be. No, I got it when the Blu-ray actually came out. So, but anyway, it's a classic in my eyes. It's one of Tim Burton's best. I think it's my second favorite Tim Burton movie. I go back and forth with that and Ed Wood. But it's a classic. It is funny. It has horror elements. Michael Keaton gives a really damn good performance in a not long screen time, like 17 minutes worth. And I'll say this, that while I feel like he's in here more, but it's still not as much as you want. It does want you more, but he's still really good, and he's still there. I feel like he's more here than in the other one because I think they had other stuff to worry about in that first one, where you have to be introduced to the Maitlands, and you're introduced to there's other execs of that family, so there's more things going on. Why it feels like he's not in that one as much. In this one, he feels like he's front and center, even if it's only a few more minutes of screen time. I think they still nail it out of the park here. But yeah, Michael Keaton, Tim Burton does a really good job here, direction wise. His style really is. This is a Tim Burton film, like no doubt about it. If you're looking for a Tim Burton film, this is definitely it. And he amps it up with the colors, with the practical effects, the stop motion when it's there. It is terrific, and I love this movie. Now, there's some nitpicks here. It's not perfect by any means, and I noticed that. But again, like if you're looking for like an amazing story, like I'm not looking for just looking for fun and something that does like that you can fit a story, like the story here. And I like what it deals with death. It deals with the death of Charles Dietz. Note, the actor is not in the movie. You may see a picture, and there's certain ways they use his character without using the actor. Look it up. He went through some legal troubles. That's probably the nicest way to say that, to be honest. But yeah, if you guys notice why he died and it's not back, he was to get everyone to get back together. Winona Ryder, really good here. She doesn't feel like she missed a beat. Now she feels a little different from that. The goth girl, and actually she is different because even her stepmother makes a comment about that actually in the movie, about getting back to that, because now she's a host for a TV series, Ghost House. And she's met she has a boyfriend named played by Justin Theroux. He's Rory, and he's he's her manager but also boyfriend. But he's funny at times, I'll say that. He's definitely over the top of all the characters. He's the most over the top in terms of, like, everyone has their moments of being over the top. I think except for Jenna Ortega. I don't think she's as over the top with anything she does. but I think she's good as Lydia Dollar. She fits Lydia. Different personality because something happened and her and her mom were not that close. So, but this death brings them back together. Ultimately, something does happen, and they actually have to ask for. Lydia has to go ask for Beetlejuice for help. And this movie is just a riot. It is, especially the visuals are just on point. The costumes, everything like that is on point. This definitely feels like a Beetlejuice sequel. While it is standing on its own, there's some elements. There's Easter eggs here and there. There's nods to that original, but this does feel like it plays on its own really well, which I think is very important to make this work, where it's not just nostalgia. Now, I think some people will probably want just all what that original was. They also do explain why Adam and Barbara are not there, which I know some are disappointed that they're not in the film, which I get, but being realistic, the reason I think they can get away with Beetlejuice is because he's more of a demon than a ghost. And the way they can do makeup with him, they can make him look like Beetlejuice, whereas the Maitlands they still look like themselves when they died. And you look at Michael has aged a bit, but he can still look like Beetlejuice. You look at, really, without being, to be fair, it's more Alec Baldwin who's really changed. You can't get him back to that. You would have to do some heavy, probably CGI, and I don't think Tim really want to go that way. There's some CGI here and there, but it's more to emphasize the practical more than it is to use CGI, because this movie is just, when it has the practical effects going, it is terrific. I loved every single minute of it. It's so cool to bring back that style, and the way the movie opens to bring back that. The nostalgia starts with the opening sequence, and it makes you feel like you're back in this world. Catherine O'Hara is another great standout. She is so funny, and you really like it's such a different. It's also different from that original film. She's over the top, but in obviously in good ways, which I think is very. This is a world that you want to be in. And I think it's good to have it being over the top. Again, like I said, I think my only character, and then you're introduced to Wolf Jackson, played by William Dafoe. I think he's really damn good. He has some good scenes when he appears. Monica Bellucci, who plays Beetlejuice's ex-wife, you'll get to see how they meet, which is a really cool thing. Though I think her doesn't get as much. Her story gets wrapped up in this film. It does feel like the third act, it feels like a rush, and especially with her character. But when she's on screen and when you see her, I liked her. I liked her look. I like what they were giving her. She is really the villain of the film. Though Beetlejuice still has his pervy moments, but they made him more close to the animated series, not quite, because he still has, his, what he wants. But I think they made him less villain. He's still kind of a villain, but not the same type of way he was in the original film, where he was definitely the villain of the film. Here, he's there to help, but also do his own thing. So it's like an anti-hero in a way. But like I said, more like close to kind of animated series way. If you guys haven't seen the animated series, it's actually on Tubi right now, all 4 seasons. Definitely recommend it. I have the DVD series. But yeah, getting to my biggest complaint about this movie, it's just, it goes a little too fast for an hour a movie for an hour and 44 minutes. It doesn't feel that way. It feels too fast at times. Again, especially with some characters, like I said, with Beetlejuice, I feel like he's in there the whole movie, even though he's not in there the whole movie. But it feels like you see him a lot, whereas you see with Monica Bellucci's character, she's not there as much, or again, because there feels like there's so many things going on, and that's what I really should have said. There's so many things going on, different story plot lines going on. It's just so hard. It's not hard to keep up, but it's just like it's like going. It's going. It's not like kind of settling down. And I think that's again, like I said, it's that's probably my biggest criticism I could say for the film. And I know it's a tough thing with a movie like this because you wanted to have a good, nice pace and fast and just fun, energetic. There's some things you want to settle with. Obviously, the thing I would say is I would wanted more Monica Bellucci, probably less Rory. And I'm not saying Justin Theroux did bad and Rory was a bad character, but obviously there's some things. I think there's a scene or two that you could easily say, did I really need to see that with him particularly, or they make it a little obvious with where his character goes. I mean, maybe that's an obvious anyway with that character. I think, especially the way he plays it, I think it's obvious. So, not a bad thing, but I mean, I think you have to have that to a degree with a film like this. And I guess the other thing you could say is just more Beetlejuice. But I feel like I saw a lot of Beetlejuice in this movie. And I like how, look, if it's like 20 minutes compared to 17 minutes, but the movie feels like it went so fast that you saw enough Beetlejuice. Though I do want a third film, and I think the third film you have to do, like, especially if it's the last one, I think you do go a bit more with Beetlejuice. But I understand why you don't want to, again, this is where a lot of other sequels want to do the thing where the main character, the thing that stands out to people, they want to double that, and sometimes or most of the time it doesn't work. With Beetlejuice, I feel like as a character you want to do that with at some point. I think with the third film, I think they might consider going that. I know Tim Burton says it's probably going to be 100 before he will be 100 by the time he wants to do Beetlejuice 3. I think he might be truthful to that, but I do believe that they're going to do a sequel, a third one. I mean, the way this money is, but okay, I'll get to that. I do believe there'll be a third one. I think it makes sense, and the third one could be Beetlejuice, or Beetlejuice, which makes sense. And I don't think you need to do more than. I think that's the last one you do. But you have to do probably you have to get that started on quickly. I'm pretty sure they have some ideas. But what I also liked about, even though I want a third film, I do think they hint at something more. And Winona Ryder, I think, has talked about where it could go, like idea with her and Beetlejuice. It doesn't end like with a post-credit, mid-credit, or like an ending that just feels like. I mean, the very end, maybe it does have a tease to that, but even at that, I think it ends on a way that it can stand on its own, where you can watch it without having to needing a third film, which I think is good, because the first one also ends on something that, well, obviously you could do more, especially because the way that Beetlejuice he's a demon / ghost. He's not gonna die unless specifically. You'll have to wait and watch this film. But yeah, he can't really die, so it's like there's opportunities to do it. It's just, again, waited a little, probably too long in terms of doing more than one or two of these, I think. I think you could eventually, was this a better idea than a reboot? I think, yeah. The reason I even said a reboot or a remake was just to do it like the animated series, even though it's like, oh, you do have the animated series. Why would you want to do that? Yeah, I think ultimately, I think this is a really terrific sequel. I think this is a must-see for Beetlejuice fans. I think this is a lot of fun. It's fast-paced. The colors, the cinematography, the costumes, the makeup, like everything. The performances are really good. They were very creative with certain things in the film, especially with character, like I said, with the Charles Dietz character, how they were creative there. Everyone has really a standout moment. I just think I had a really great time. Is it a little rushed in terms of just like it just feels too fast? Some of the emotional beats maybe not hit there as much just because how fast it's going. But ultimately, it's a movie I recommend. I give this a 4.5 out of 5. That's how good I think it is. I think, and if I wanted to compare it to the two films, like it's so hard to even say because I love that original film. I really like this one. I definitely do need to see. We'll see it a second time, but I know I'm giving this a 4 out of 5. I don't think that's going to change. I don't know if I'm going to put this up on the first level, just because some of the rushed elements. But I still do think this is a really good time, and I would recommend going to see this. So let me know what you guys thought of Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice, did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Were you guys disappointed? Tell me what you guys thought. This is Brandon at the Movies, or Brandon Talks Movies. Sign off. Peace. It's showtime. It's showtime. It's showtime.